I mean, I guess to Thorin's point, the one thing I would say is like the reason why I feel like people have that perception of Rogue is also within the community, right? Like I don't remember if it was Mickey X. I believe it was Mickey X, but it could have been somebody else on G2 where they were talking about how they're like 8-0 against Rogue all time. They never feel like they can lose a game to Rogue. Even this last game that looked like they should have, like, I mean, the last game that you guys just played over the weekend, I think it was on Saturday, it looked like that game should have never been won by G2. I mean, you guys were so far ahead.
Of course not.
You guys were so far ahead of that game, and it ended up just like all going wrong at some point. But yeah. So I mean, I think that a lot of it comes from within the LEC as well. Like the LEC teams, for some reason, believe that like Mad Lions, G2, like even when people are doing the like little prediction for who's gonna make it to Worlds, which we'll get Vander's opinion on here shortly, but everyone's always like, oh yeah, Mad Lions, Fnatic and G2 will probably get their shit together, and then they're like, and I guess Rogue, maybe Origin, and it's like, wait, how are you putting Origin in the same conversation as Rogue for like Worlds right now? I mean, Origin looks so much worse. Obviously that was before this last week, but you get the point. Like for some reason,
what does Vander think about this then? Because basically, what he's talking about, Vander, is like everyone now gives the G2 and Fnatic cause the status we all back in when you first came in LEC used to give to Fnatic. You know, the old Expeke, Swaz, Fnatic, or OG. Exactly. Like with those teams, it didn't even matter if they finished like 5th in the regular season. You knew in the playoffs they'd be like twice as good and they'd probably win the league, right? So no one ever really like panicked too much when like OG, for example, wasn't like top of the division. That you knew like eventually you just get it. Like people still basically do that now, but with G2 and Fnatic, they still think they're like the royalty of LEC. Do you kind of agree? Do you think that it's just given that eventually they'll figure it out and they'll get back? Or do you think people are actually not in the moment? Like people are just judging from last split and they're not looking at the real teams now? Where do you come down on it?
I think when it comes to G2, it kind of is like this. I think everyone from G2 plays pretty well for most of the part, except Perks right now, but he has some like issues, so he didn't play the game too much. Yep. So I think if Perks will come back to his old shape, they will be a really strong team again. But when it comes down to Fnatic, I don't know, honestly. I don't think they... I wouldn't be sure about them being on the top again, right? So I think G2, you can be kinda safe about it, like don't panic about it. But when it comes to Fnatic, I think they might have way more issues, and their players are like also more tied to like some metas or some champions, so it will be harder for them to get back on that.
If people don't know, by the way, this next week is the week to see what's going to happen to Fnatic, because in the next week they play Rogue and G2, and even though Fnatic is 3rd in the standings, literally between 2nd to last place and 3rd in the standings in LEC is 2 games. So if they go 0-2, they could be out of the playoff, like not out of the race, but they could be out of playoffs. That's how ridiculous the league is right now. So, like this next week's going to be wild. Like I think actually, the only time I've ever seen the league anything like this is actually if you, I mean, it was actually before Man's time. Yeah, the old one where like Lemon Dogs and alternate attacks and all those. Basically, there was a split where almost every team took a turn in 1st or 2nd place, and at the end it was like 5-way tie. Yeah, that was before you. That was back when you were pretending to be an AD carry player, mate. But I know all about you, mate. I know everything. I just keep it all secret sometimes. No, but what do you think about Fnatic then? Why Fnatic? Are you pulling back on them a little bit? Because I also agree, by the way. Like I personally called them to be dead like 2 weeks ago, but they just. I don't know how they've won these miracle games like that fucking one they stole from Misfits. I thought they were done already, but I feel like there's some problems. So what are the issues?
Well, I would say Hilly-Sank is not playing too well right now. And also, I mean, he's really good on some champions like Rakan or Pyke. And then he's not that good on other champions, I would say. He's also good on Thresh. So it really depends what champs are in the meta for him. If you can freely play... If Rakan's is really strong, it's already like way better for him. Then Nemesis... I mean, Nemesis is a alright player, but he's not like superstar, I would say. He's not on the level of like Caps or
Larsen.
Humanoid or Larsen, I think. So you have like a bit weaker mid laner. He's quite reliable though, so I will give him that. I think Serpman is good in general, and then Reckless as well. And Bwipo is also like...
Is Nemesis reliable? I mean, I guess technically he always finishes top 2 in every fucking game he plays in LEC, so always finishes at least 2nd. How's he reliable?
he plays more to like... just farm, right? This is like playstyle farming.
Sure, I see what you mean by that, right? Yes. You know how he's going to play the game. I see what you mean, right?
Playing to like TP bot or something, that's what they like to do.
Sure.
Play some TF or Rihanna and then keep your TP to help bot lane. And I think this strat worked a lot in the past for them as well, but now people are kind of aware of it. I mean, let's say last game, I feel like I was losing my lens on cooldown on bot lane. There was like always 1 or 2 wards I was seeing, so I was like shocked, you know.
The problem is
so many was
obviously
still just behind us.
The guys in Fnatic must play a lot of Dota 2 because they keep trying to force the meta from Dota 2. Like they've got like a tri-lane bottom with like 2 supports and then a carry, like Reckless and 2 supports. Whereas like League of Legends, it's more, especially in Europe, it's more about having like a really good mid player. Like you guys need a mid player. You've got like 2 supports. So in Dota 2, Fnatic could be a great team. In League of Legends, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the person that's been that at least like in the last game where they played really well, the person that I feel like needs to step up for Fnatic is Bwipo. I mean, when they were destroying the league in spring, he was somebody who people thought should have got MVP like before like the final series. Like
some of the picks he was making.
Yeah, like he was winning lane with like you'd see press the attack Malphite. You're like, oh, there's no way press the attack Malphite will be a good lane into Aatrox. He like solo kills the guy level 2. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah,
like
he solo killed Silas level 2.
Yeah, it was a Rome, right? I think it was a Rome. Or Rome. I don't know how you fucking pronounce that guy's name. Point is, he got clapped level 2 by press the attack Malphite, and we didn't forget that shit. So, yeah, I mean, when I see him playing like that, when he's on form like that, I'm like, all right, Fnatic has got it. Because, you know, you need one of the lanes play aggressively, like getting their own leads. And I feel like that was Bwipo by himself before. You know, like, Nemesis is going to farm. Reckless is going to play off, whatever Hilly does in lane. Like, if Hilly plays the lane well and gets Reckless fed, that's one thing. But Reckless is not going to dictate the lane himself. I really feel like Fnatic's the most scary when Bwipo is popping off. And, I mean, at least we got to see a little bit of that last week in the last game they played. He did actually pop off. So I'm just hoping that form continues because I feel like that's what they need